Okay, doing a video on a setup on a evolution saw. It's 14-inch metal chop saw, dry cut, low RPM. It's a S355 CPSL. I guess the L stands for light. It's a different base. It's cast base on the model without the L. And I opted to get this one. It's a little less expensive. I did see some videos talking about the setup. So some people weren't too happy with the fence. It seems like the fence has been rectified. On the thickness of the fence wasn't quite true. I'm going to go over something that nobody else is covering that I'm aware of. So if you look at this, and you're going to mount this to a table, I'm mounting this to a portable table. Because this is not that thick of a base, in my opinion, right? It's not a machine style base like you'd see on machining equipment, thick. I mean, it's rugged, but it's not super thick. So mounting this, you want to take and you want to use some bushings, because what you don't want is you don't want to pull on the top of the base and deform it, okay, in any way, or twist the space in any way. This has to be tight and square. So if you look here, what I've done is I've actually added 2-inch bushings and then some fender washers, and then I got a rubber washer underneath that to try and dampen some of the vibration going into the stand. And then I had to get some longer bolts, so carriage bolts, and they come through the top. I used locking nuts to facilitate this. So pretty simple and easy to do. Just got to put your mind to it. The other issue that I had was squaring the fence. So, in the stop. So if you look at the stop, I'm going to go ahead and show you here. What I did is I put some yellow paint on the markings for the stop, which is adjustable, by the way. I'm going to get into that. And rub the paint off so you could actually see it a little better. The way this is what I didn't like is this is supposed to go from 0 to 45 degrees, but it was going negative, okay? So what I did, and the reason why that was happening is because there was no stop on this locking mechanism to prevent this from going into negative, right? Which I didn't want. Okay, so you can see your holes there. And that stop there, if it hits the bolt on this tightener, that is not going to give you 0, okay? Now you can unscrew this marking plate and move it around, but you can see our last mark is right there, okay? So I'm going to set that there, dead on, okay? Which you could do. I'm going to set you down for a minute. But I don't want to have to keep looking at that mark when I want to go to 0, okay? I just want to get it set and go. So we've got it set to 0. We're going to double check on the fence here. So I'm going to set you down. I'm going to try and get my square set up here so I can make some sense of this. I'm going to check square against the blade of the fence. Get my light positioned here out of the way and set this up. Now you got to make sure when you're using these squares that they're actually a good square. I've seen people using these style of squares, and the set screw that holds the roller into the square, sometimes they get wore out and the square will not be square, so you got to make sure you got a good one. You can see we're off just a tiny bit, thousandths, and I'm not worried about thousandths. This was pretty bad before. So what I've done here is I've installed washers inside. Let's see if we can get in here. See it. Kind of hard I can get this position. Come on, focus. So you can see I got these washers, and they're stop washers, so they stop the fence from going into negative. I'll pull this back off again and show you how I did this. Because I don't have, I'm not set up yet to do any real machining. Not that I want to, but I mean, I can't even do any type of machining. I'll do that. Get my drill press set up to do, light machining. So what I've done, this is a grade 8 washer, lock washer, okay? And that goes over there, and that locks it down so that when I'm using the saw, it can't drift. The locking pin here, locking mechanism. And I've got a standard washer that I've drilled out, okay, reamed out, and then I've got a nut that I've reamed out. So what this had came with was, if I remember right, was just this washer here, okay? But that allowed the fence to go into negative because there was nothing to stop the fence, see? So when this is all assembled, I'll show you. Put this back together. Put a nut on. That's been drilled out on the inside. This back on. And that on. Okay. So that's what we're dealing with here. Or no, I've got it backwards. So we want that locking washer facing down. So that locking washer gives us the bite to keep this from moving. Excuse me. So now that's what we're looking at. Okay? And if you look here, let me set you down again. You can kind of see what's going on. See it? So let's install this. So when this goes into this threaded hole here, this is going to allow you to tighten the fence down so it won't move, supposedly. It goes in the back one. So that when I slide that fence, when I move that fence, I just slide it back. That acts as a stop. See how the washer hits the fence, the back of the fence. Okay, there's my stop. See it? Okay, and then we're at 0. See it? If I'll zoom right there. Problem solved. Then we lock this down. And that fence is not going to move. Okay? The fence isn't going to move. The locking mechanism is not going to drift on me. And I'm not going to lose my position. Okay? So, heads up for anybody that's setting these up. A little help there. Now, if you get this square to the blade and that reader is not reading right, you can loosen these screws here. See them here? And you can move this indicator, okay, a little bit so that it's going to be reading, 0 when you're square to the blade, okay? Other than that, I'm pretty happy with the saw. I haven't had time to run it yet, but the setup I'm happy with. I'm happy with the fence and the squareness and the blade and the construction as far as what I can tell. I've seen enough videos on these things to know what they can do. So this is a ridgid stand that I picked up off of Craigslist for $100. So can't ever beat them Craigslist deals. It's an older style, but it'll do what I need it to do. Hold the saw so I can take it outside when I'm cutting steel. I don't have to have chips and flakes all over my shop. So, and excuse the mess, we're reorganizing the shop, so it's a disaster. All right, well, hopefully that setup process here helps somebody trying to set one of these up. And one other thing I was going to do, I'm going to make, because this piece is to allow you to hook up to this push part of the holder for the fence, and that allows you to hold pipe. But when you're not using it, what do you do with it, right? You set it aside and lose it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a mount, and I'm going to mount it back here. So it's going to get a mount that'll slide down right there, and it'll be there when I need it. And when I need it for pipe, it'll be there. All right, over and out.